So we're nasty, are we? Well, the psychotic orange hillbilly has no idea. He has no idea. Canadians, nasty.
This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the Cannabis Goldsmith.
We're the Cannabis Goldsmiths.
What a freaking goof. All right, so Canadians are nasty. The orange psychotic hillbilly went on a 4-minute rant last night about Canada on Ingram interview, whatever that is. A Republican woman newswoman interviewed him. And he went on this rant for 4 minutes against Canada. He hates Canada. He hates Canadians. He hates the Canadian people. The orange psychotic hillbilly hates the Canadian people. Well, you know what? We hate you. And each day you remain in power in the United States, the hatred for the United States builds across the world. But you see, the Americans aren't even seeing this. They're not even seeing, they don't even reckon, in the same way the Americans can't identify Switzerland or, Guatemala on a map or even Canada on a map. Most of them can't pinpoint where our country is on a map. Australia, they have no idea where it is on a map. In the same way that they have no sense of spatial, geographical kind of positioning in their brains, they have no idea that their country, they're losing their country. In the last 50 days, their whole country, their whole democracy is being taken apart in front of their eyes. They're losing their democracy. They have no idea. They're all focused on the orange psychotic hillbilly and his minions. There are little announcements about this or that or whatever. The threatening he's doing to us. Bullies love to threaten the weaker person, but we're not going to take it. But, fuck him. Fuck America is what I say. And the world is watching what's happening to us here. They're watching how we're being treated. And even worse is, that this spokeswoman who they have making these press announcements every day, she's like insulting everybody, the entire world. She's shitting on France. She's shitting on Germany. She's shitting on Canada. She's shitting on everybody on behalf of the president. And they all think this is great, right? This is lovely. This is fantastic. Well, you know what? The nastiness aside, Canadians are the least nasty people in the world unless you rile us up and then look the fuck out. That's all I'm saying. So the orange psycho to the south of us, who's destroyed the U.S.-Canada friendship, destroying the U.S.-France friendship, destroying the U.S.-Australian friendship, destroying world trade with his lunatic tariff strategies that seem to change every day. Now, in this episode, I'm going to tell you what the tariff strategies are about. I've thought about this for a while. Nobody seems to know what they're about. I know what they're about, and I'm going to tell you in this episode what he's going to do on April 2nd. His big reveal, his big tariff, his big trade reveal is coming. See, our trade now with Canada, from my own business, let me speak as a jewelry manufacturer, a Canadian jewelry manufacturer. I can't ship products to the United States anymore. One, because it's impossible to determine what they cost in the United States. I can't tell my customers what they cost because of the tariff mayhem. Two, because I don't want to sell my products to a place where their leader is calling me nasty. Okay, maybe I am nasty. It's kind of I can rock the nasty label. But here's the thing, I don't want to sell you anything that's good. Why should I? You don't deserve it. Because you're a douchebag, that's why. Why should Canadians, he's saying he doesn't need any of our stuff. Just wait until he doesn't get it. Then he'll realize how important it is. And then he's going to try and come and take it from us. I'm quite confident that when things go really wrong here with the Canada-U.S. relationship, which is happening now, right now, world, take note, watch this. This is going sour really, really fast. Now, after April 2nd, well, I'll tell you what he's going to do April 2nd. Here's the Trump tariff strategy. All these brilliant economists, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, we don't really have any smart economists. Maybe the Globe and Mail financial page or whatever. All these people, they have no idea what he's doing with the tariffs. Here's what he's doing. Let me tell you what he's doing. First off, all these little announcements about 25% on this and 10% on that. No, today it's there, tomorrow it's gone. These are just little experiments for the thing that's happening on the 2nd of April. Now, what's going to happen on the 2nd of April is the United States is going to shut their border to international trade. They're going to just close it. It's not going to be open. Now, the only people the only countries that will be able to penetrate it will require the permission of the president. Now, what am I saying here? Think about this as a Mar-A-Lago strategy. Now, at Mar-A-Lago, you or I could go to Florida. Not that I would ever go to the United States ever in my life, because I'm not going to go there ever again. But should I go to Mar-A-Lago, should I go to Florida and I want to join the Mar-A-Lago Club for whatever reason, whether it's to hang out with the horse-faced women there or in the gold spray-painted, you could just smell the Krylon, the gold Krylon coming off the molding there. The everything painted gold for the photos with the horse-faced women. Maybe the president, the psycho lunatic, will come in from a round of golf and dance around a bit so you can get a photo with him in the background. Now, for this privilege, he's charging $1 million to each one of these horse-faced women and their husbands, their geriatric billionaire husbands. All these people down at Mar-A-Lago are paying $1 million a pop to get into Mar-A-Lago. Now, this is what the new tariff strategy is going to be. As of April 2nd, the gates, not an iron curtain, we'll call it a psycho curtain, is going to drop across the United States. And the only people who are going to be able to sell into that market are going to have to pay the entry fee just to even get into the market. Now, there'll be tariffs of different things involved in that too. But the main ingredient in this is keeping everyone out. Everyone's going to be out. And then one by one, he's going to pick who he wants to deal with. He's going to charge them a fee. They're going to pay the fee either to Trump directly through his meme coin or Swiss bank accounts or whatever, or they might give some money to the U.S. Treasury to show their interests in doing business with the United States. Now, each one of these fees is going to be different for different countries. Now, with Canada here, what Trump the number he keeps dropping is, Canada, they owe us $200 billion a year. $200 billion a year. We subsidize Canada. So my feeling is that what he's going to do is he's going to say, this is the entry fee for Canada a year. If you want to sell products into the United States, you have to pay me $200 billion a year, and then you'll be able to do it. Otherwise, no, you're not going. Otherwise, you'll have like 400% tariffs or whatever. That's how this is going to work. This is like the wall around Mar-A-Lago. This is the wall that keeps out the ordinary people, and only the hand selected and the ones with the checkbooks open are going to be able to get into Mar-A-Lago or Psycho-Lago or whatever we're going to call the United States after April 2nd. Now, there are some questions with this whole policy, and the questions I have. See, economists aren't even thinking about it like this. They're wondering what the impacts of the tariffs will be on the steel tariffs will be on the automotive trade. All that's going to be finished on April 2nd. It's all going to be done. It'll all have to be renegotiated in order to avoid these punishing levels of tariffs that are going to be coming down. Now, my feeling is with Canada, Trump is going to ask for some ridiculous amount a year, like $200 billion as an entry fee to sell into their market. Now, we have to decide whether it's worth it for us to do that or not. And every country in the world is going to have to do that as well. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to play one of us against the other. So he's going to offer France. He's going to say, oh, France, you can have 100. Your tariffs will only be 100, but Canada will be 400. Or whatever. He'll try and play one off against another. He's the psychotic lunatic. I think he's well over his skis on so many things now. I think the United States is really quite brittle. Like I say, I'm not an economist, but already there's signs. There's signs of something happening. And when this big announcement comes of how he's going to rejig the world trade order with this kind of Mar-A-Lago strategy on the United States. We'll see what happens. There'll be some stock market crashes for sure. And then the world has to decide whether we want to deal with the United States at all. I mean, in Canada, we have issues. Like I say, I can't sell products down there anymore. And the more he insults the Canadian people, like he's doing, he's called the Canadian people nasty yesterday. The fucking goof. I don't want to sell anything to you. You know what? You can do without my products. People in Europe appreciate them more. The people in the United States appreciate them, but now you're going to have to come up here and gut them because I'm certainly not going to sell them to you anymore. Because I'm just, you're just toxic. You're just disgusting. You're just like, God, you're orcs. They're just like, ugh. So anyway, here's the deal. Nobody in the United States really knows except a handful of people. Not even the mainstream media realizes this. Like a handful of podcasters in the United States understand what has happened to the United States in the last 50 days and how it's falling apart, how they're in a constitutional crisis right now, how the psycho hillbilly president is ignoring judges' court orders to stop what he's doing, and he's doing it anyway. So it's a constitutional crisis. It's only a matter of time before the U.S. is finished as a democracy. And the Americans don't realize that yet. You see, they can't find Switzerland on a map. And how they'll realize it is when suddenly their Social Security checks aren't coming. Or when their hospital, they have some of the worst medical care in the world, right? Healthcare in the world, and when that starts, the checks start bouncing for that. I think people are going to get really upset in the United States. I think they might even be in for a civil war. The psycho hillbilly lunatic is above his skis too far. He's trying to do too much at once, I think. And that's a problem because while he got 51% of the popular vote, there's 49% who don't agree with what he's doing. So there's going to be clear lines are going to develop. And when the lines get sharp, there's going to be rioting in the streets. So the United States is in for, I can sit here in Canada and the psycho orange hillbilly can call me nasty if he wants. He has no idea what's coming for him. Half the U.S. population is coming for him eventually. He wanted to hang Mike Pence. He wanted to hang his own vice president. Just what goes around comes around. When you inject so much hatred into your own country, it's going to come back. Now, whether he can ride this bucking bronco, they like I say, he's so far over his skis. He's trying to do too much. He's cutting everything. He's got Elon in there, who's in the computer systems, and Elon will never get out of the computer systems. Even when Trump is no longer in office, if there's a whole other government, you'll never get Elon out of the computer systems. He's there. He's not going anywhere. And with that comes enormous power. So the psycho orange lunatic has to deal with that. And there's somebody who's going to eventually turn against him, who has all the control, who has all the levers, right? Already, he has all the levers. He just hasn't shown it yet. He's using the levers, at Trump's behest. But anyway, what happens then? Okay, there's all kinds of things going on. They're cutting all these services. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea. They're just chopping stuff. We've heard all the horror stories on the news. We can see what they're doing. They have no clue. They're absolutely clueless at what they're doing. But they're doing it at great speed. And in 50 days, they've put the U.S. into a constitutional crisis. The United States has no more friends internationally. None. Every other country in the world now realizes the United States can't be trusted. This is what the psychotic hillbilly president has done. He's broken the trust between the United States and the world. And once broken, that can't be. It's like an egg that's fallen off a wall and shattered or whatever. You can't put it back together again. It can't be put. If it could be, it's going to take 50, 100 years. But all the trust is broken with the United. Nobody trusts the United States anymore. Nobody trusts Americans anymore. Certainly nobody trusts the president of the United States anymore. But his qualities are trickling down onto the population as a whole. So nobody's going to trust an American businessman anymore. Nobody's going to trust tourists coming into Canada are going to get a different feeling, I think, this year, because frankly, we don't like how they're talking about us. So you think we're nasty, do you? So what's up with that? No, sorry, we don't accept U.S. dollars, or we do at par. We'll take your U.S. dollars at par, but otherwise you're going to have to convert them here to Canadian dollars. At whatever rate we choose. That's I think what they're going to face when they come here to Canada. We're great. Well, Canadians are fantastic, but just don't abuse us. Don't insult us. So you folks in Denmark and Australia who listen to my podcast, you're wondering what the hell's going on? What's coming for you? That last week I said, Australia, now you understand, don't you? Because now he's starting to fuck with Australia. Like, okay, now they're realizing they can't trust the United States anymore. Denmark, they're threatening Denmark, and Denmark's a NATO country. He's insane. He's a psychotic lunatic president. So we have to deal with whatever happens. He can call the Canadian people nasty if he wants. But don't expect any favors from us. And if we're going to choose to sell stuff to you, it's going to be at market price or higher. That's for sure. Now we have our fake tough Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, who was, we're going to cut off their power. Oh, blah, blah. He went down to Washington. They cut his balls off and sent him back. And now he's, we want to be first in line to appease Donald on April 2nd. He's a bully here in Canada, Doug Ford, but he's like the governor of our province or whatever, the premier of the province that I live in. He's a bully. He's a full-on thug bully. But the thing is, he's not the same scale as a thug bully who's also a psychotic lunatic like Donald Trump. So when whoever's the most psycho wins in that contest, whoever's the most deranged, and obviously, as much as I dislike Doug Ford, he's now neutered and spayed. And you can hear it in his voice. He sounds like a little meek pussycat now. No, he wants to be first in line to give up Ontario to Donald. No. We mustn't think like that. We must hold our own. If we got to suffer for 4 years till he's gone, we'll suffer. If we have to fight for a country in the forests with fucking rifles, we're going to do that too. Canadians are tough as nails, and it's becoming quite apparent here in the country. You can feel it everywhere here, everywhere. No, I'm personally, Americans, if you call me nasty, go ahead, call me nasty all you want. I don't give a fuck. Who are you? You can't even pick out fucking Switzerland on a map, for fuck's sake, right? You elected a president who's deporting your own citizens to El Salvador without any kind of legal anything. Just grabbing random people off the street, putting them in chains, and sending them to El Salvador. Like what? You're definitely not leader of the free world anymore. You're just an embarrassment, is what America is now. All the Hollywood stuff is gone now. All that, Americans coming in to save the day and the wars. Oh, we won this war. Americans haven't won a single war since World War II. In Afghanistan, 40,000 dudes with sandals and AK-47s and turbans booted the U.S. Army out of the country. They had to fucking run they fled. Now, so when Donald is here, little crazy psycho Donald is threatening Canada. Think about that for a second. If even 1% of our population resisted, that would be 400,000 Canadians would stand up. But I think more would stand up. And the other thing to think about here, as I said earlier at the beginning of this show, 49% of Americans didn't vote for this lunatic, psychotic maniac. So are they going to stand idly by while Donald lunatic attacks Canada with military force? Are they going to participate? Or are they going to refuse an illegal order like they're supposed to do in their military? Is their military going to fail because they won't attack Canada? They're like, why are we attacking Canada? That's, they never did anything to us. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's the question. I mean, everybody in the world understands that. The answer is we did nothing to them, and they're orcs. They've turned into psychotic orcs because of their new president. All right. So whether their parts of their military would fight against Canadians, that's the other question. If it comes to an invasion, a physical, a shooting war between Canada and the United States, and it might. Like, I'm not discounting that for a second. When you're dealing with an absolute lunatic, anything can happen. But I think we're fine, and I think the reason we're fine is because we're Canadian. We're strong. We're strong. You can feel it in the country now. Oh, the little symbolic things that we do it's just like the speedometer. It's like it's the altitude meter. Like, us buying Canadian products in the stores. 500,000 Canadians didn't go to the United States last month. 500,000 that should have gone didn't go for tourism. Now this was choice. These are the indicators about how we feel about the United States. Now, around the rest of the world, you watch us closely because how they treat us. Remember, we were their best friends. Remember this now, world. Denmark, Australia, Ireland, France, England. England, your prime minister is like a douchebag. Sorry, I just had to say that. Also, your king, who hasn't stood up for Canada in public. I wrote the king a letter. I told him to stand up for Canada, or we take him off our money. That's what he'll never respond. It'll go right in the garbage. But I had to do it because he's being such a wimp. A king? What the hell? What the fuck? Like, stand up for Canada. You're the king of Canada. Stand up, make a public announcement. Get in front of a microphone and support Canada. You write a letter of support to the Canadian people. That's what you have to do, King Charles III, you chicken. Jesus, get off your ermine throne and be real for a second. You know, photo ops are not enough. You have to say something. Okay, now, as for Europe, watch what happens here, because it's going to happen to you. Now, after April 2nd, you're going to have to decide whether you want to sell into the United States or not, and how much you want to pay for that privilege. Is it not only the payment part, but is it worth the trouble? Like, because the rules could change, as you can see, any moment, right? It's like the rug pulls are what he's good at, Donald. He loves a little crazy Donald, little orange psycho hillbilly Donald. He loves doing rug pulls. Just as soon as you get comfortable, he'll pull the rug out. So he doesn't honor contracts or trade agreements. So whatever's coming on April 2nd, this new walled Mar-A-Lago tariff regime, you can't trust it. You can't trust the Americans anymore. They've broken the trust of the world. So that's the predicament they find themselves in. It's sad, when Americans who have been friendly with Canada, they're stuck in a position where they have to choose. And either they choose to side with us, or they side with their lunatic president. It's going to come to that. Their nationality, are they going to sign up to the Army and the Marines to fight to kill Canadians? Are they? Are they going to do that? We'll see. And if they do, and if they come, we'll send them back. That's what's going to happen here. So let's see what the orange lunatic says today about Canada. He doesn't like Canada. I think we should really needle him with it. Like, look, we're nasty, are we? Anyway. But not only being nasty, we have no government. We have an artificial prime minister, a fake prime minister, temporary prime minister who's pretending to run the country. We need an election. That's what we need, so that we can get behind, and the public can get behind and vote a new leader. Not somebody who's just been appointed by Trudeau who nobody even knows. This guy is like Mark Carney. No, he's not. No, we need an election to choose a prime minister, and then we'll move forward. But in the meantime, Canadians, stay strong, be strong, and people of the world, artists of the world, designers of the world, manufacturers and makers of the world. This is what's going to happen on April 2nd. The walls are going to go up, and we have to choose whether we want to sell to the United States or not. Whether we want to sell to Americans or not, whether we can afford to or not, right? Or whether we can go through all the hoops and loops and trouble it will take to get into that market. No, we don't even know if they're going to buy the products yet, right? But these are all the things we're going to have to do in order to get into the marketplace. So I guess everyone's going to have to decide whether that's worth the trouble or not. And some people will say, okay, access to a market of 400 million people or whatever is worth anything. But other people like me will say, no, it's really not worth it. In fact, if I could make $1 million a year off Americans, I would choose not to now, because I don't want. They just leave a bad taste in my mouth, and that's not because of the 49% of you who didn't vote for the orange psycho hillbilly. It's because of him. And everything he is doing is tainting your people and your country. So call us nasty if you want, but look in the mirror and look how you're treating others, and look how you're treating your own people. And I think if you don't realize that soon, you've lost your country. You've lost your democracy. Those down in the States now, snap out of it and look around. You are losing your democracy. It's happening right now. Stand up and defend it, or you're going to lose it. Now, this is really strange for me as a Canadian to be telling you Americans to stand up for your own democracy because, in Hollywood, you guys ruled. You guys were, the Americans are coming in to save the day. You know what? It was all baloney. It was all Hollywood. It was all fluff. It was all fake U.S. defense propaganda, making you guys seem like the most powerful people in the world. Now you're just the craziest. Now you're just the most lunatic people in the world. Now, granted, there's some strength to that, but I don't know if you want to be that. Maybe the MAGA people want to be that, but I don't know if the other people there want to be that. Anyway, it won't matter to us or the rest of the world because I think we're going to move along and do our own stuff and trade amongst ourselves and open our borders amongst ourselves. And the Americans can sort their own shit out in their walled garden of insanity. So, that's it. Art. Oh, a little bit of art. I'm going to throw some art in the end. So it's not just a huge 30-minute rant about how great Canada is and how nasty America is. I signed up for a writer's workshop, which the first group is tomorrow. Anyway, I was at my local diner, and there was a server pointed the poster on the wall. It said Prescott Writers, and so I read it, and I was like, maybe it's like a writer's group where apparently I've never done anything like this in my life. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do it, and it'll crack something open. Because I am doing I'm producing a book of the Tribe magazine photography. There'll be some writing in it, but it's mostly photographs. But I figure it could help that writing. And then I write a monthly column in the Fish Wrapper, Southeastern Ontario's art magazine, monthly art mag. And I write a monthly column in that called the Cannabis Goldsmith. So I'm thinking maybe the workshop would help my writing skills in that respect. Also, it might help, I thought, I write a lot of marketing content. Not so much these days, but I'm always writing marketing content. Whether it's like a podcast description or whether it's, marketing stuff, web page content, text content, it could help with that. Also, I'm in a kind of I have a pretty good setup here where I have a studio and I have a small property and I have a shop, a workshop where I can make stuff and experiment and tinker and do things. But I get too into myself, so I can basically survive on my own here indefinitely, on my own food if I want to, and water and everything really, except for electricity. But so I have this self-sufficient mindset. So I tend to be a loner, not a true hermit, but a loner, and getting out and amongst a small group of writers would be a good thing. That's what I thought. So that's why I signed up. So the first one is tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. It's in the morning. I'm so wet behind the ears. I'm going to go in there tomorrow with my pen and my notebook and cross my fingers. So the writing is going to get better, that's for sure. Also, the book stuff is I'm looking for a Canadian book printer who can print super high quality coffee table books. Now, if you are that, you should email me because we are putting out a book of photography of Tribe magazine within the next 2 years. And the photos are being digitized. And we're going to pick out some and build an incredible book about the rave scene in Canada in the 90s. Canadian printers, if you print high quality 4-color, 5-color, whatever it is called now, whatever, I need something that looks like a great coffee table book. Send me an email. If you're listening to this outside of Canada, if you're a printer in the UK, for example, or in Germany, or you can do the same because I'd also like quotes from you. But if you're in the United States, I don't want quotes from you. Anyway, that's it for me this week on the Cannabis Goldsmith podcast. Stay strong, Canada. The orange psycho hillbilly lunatic is way over his skis. He's gonna make all kinds of mistakes, and his world is going to crash down around him. You just watch. You just watch. We're strong. We can deal. We're Canadian. We are Canadian. See you next week. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications, Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. We recorded in our studio in southeastern Ontario along the St. Lawrence River, where we can see America across the river. Subscribe to the Cannabis Goldsmith wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show and tell your fellow artist friends about it. It's the only artist podcast coming to you right from a studio every Wednesday morning. We'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith. Oh, if you want to reach me, send me an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening.